Welcome back to my series where I share the pros and cons of different nursing departments that I've worked at. Today I'm going to go in depth to home infusion nursing and share the pros and cons. I've worked in home infusion for the past 3 years, and I do it on the side in addition to my oncology infusion job at the outpatient clinic. So the pros of working in home infusion is you have one patient at a time. It's glorious, right? You don't have these crazy ratios, and usually it's going to be pretty low-key. I mean, I would watch Netflix, I would listen to music, I would get my taxes done, I would pay my bills. You know, they're usually these longer infusions and the patient's sleeping or maybe they're doing their own thing. So that was really nice. Really low-key. There's not going to be a ton of reactions or things going on, although when it does, that's kind of good to be up in the know of what to do during a reaction because you are by yourself. But I consider it a pro because in general it was that kind of stuff wasn't happening. The kind of patients that you see is usually you're going to do hydration, antibiotics, IVIG, immunoglobulin, or things for autoimmune like MS, MG, rheumatoid arthritis, things like that. The pro is that it's autonomous. You know, you're pretty much on your own. You don't have somebody breathing down your back. Now, one of the jobs, I worked 2 different home infusion jobs. One was part-time for a company, and I essentially saw the same patients, and the other one was per diem, where I was essentially a filler for like if somebody was on vacation or was sick. And so that was a little bit different. That was definitely more autonomous than the one where I had to report to a charge nurse or a supervisor. But in general, while you're there, you don't really have to answer to anybody unless they have like a high blood pressure or some sort of reaction or thing that you need to call the pharmacist or the doctor about. And what else? Oh, another pro was for me on the per diem gig. I was a 1099, or I am a 1099, so I can write off my scrubs, I can write off my phone, my internet, a ton of things because I'm considered a contractor. Also, I can write off my miles for my gas with that job. With my part-time job, they would pay me for gas for the miles that I did. So I log in the miles and then they give me the federal rate of whatever that was to pay for my gas. The con, I would say, is that there are reactions sometimes and you're on your own. The other con would be the gas mileage, just that wear and tear on your car. A lot of the companies want you to go for, I think it's at least a max of 2 hours away. So, and you might have multiple patients during that day. So maybe you're one place and you go 2 hours to another place and an hour to another. It can be a lot of driving. The per diem gig, I usually just saw one patient for the day, which was nice. Oh, another pro is you kind of get to make your own schedule because you can just tell the patient like, oh, I'm going to be there at 9, or, you know, like I can see this patient until 3 o'clock and then I got to go. So it was good because I could pick up my kids from school or whatnot and drop them off if I needed to. Another con is the houses. You will be surprised at how certain people live. I've been in houses that there's mold on the walls, there was dog poop on the floor, they hadn't cleaned a bathroom in, I mean, easily like a year. I mean, it was disgusting. And for my part-time job, I didn't really have a say if like I would complain about it, but it didn't matter. I still had to see them. And then one guy, though, that kind of creeped me out because he talked about going to Mexico and paying for somebody underage. And I was like, I'm not seeing this person anymore. This person creeps me out. So the other con is, you know, you don't know where you're going into or what you're going into. So there is that kind of, I've never had an issue except that one where I felt weirded out, but you know, it is possible. And that was definitely a con. What else is a con or a pro? Oh, the pay. The con is the pay. Usually it's less than working in the clinic or the hospital. I make the part-time job, I was making like $25 less an hour. And the per diem gig, I was making about the same. But again, I had to cover my gas. But it was significantly less, I would say. But again, it's a lot easier, you know, of a job. So all in all, I like it because it's a low stress side gig. I don't do the per diem one that much. I have a couple patients here and there, or when they ask me to see, or if someone's on vacation or whatever, I'll fill in. But it's low stress, it's decent pay, and yeah, I mean, you're on your own and you really get to do your own thing. So if you have any questions about it, let me know.